obviously, this is a Wealth Generation live chat. However, the topic for today is actually a question. And the question is, what would you do if you suddenly won £1 million? Okay. And I'm really interested to see what everyone's thoughts are, opinions, actions would be, because everyone's different. There isn't a single correct answer, because everyone has different circumstances, different desires, goals, jobs, etc. So there's no wrong answer, unless it's I'm going to blow it all on a Lambo. Well, actually, that may not even be a wrong answer. I mean, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what everyone does. So those on the Facebook, Robbie, what's for dinner? Baby crow. Yeah, I need to sort that out. For those who are not familiar, yesterday a crow, a full-size crow, this big old, it felt like an eagle, fell down the chimney, flew around the living room, and then I opened the door and it flew out. But it seems like there's like a crow's nest in the chimney. You can still hear them. So yeah, it's a good job that happened, because we tend to light a fire most days. So yeah, I'm not going to do that until then. Cool. So those in Clubhouse, please pop your hand up. Who fancies sharing what they would do with £1 million? And until I see a little hand pop up, I'm just going to read some of the Facebook comments. Tom says, Tom Brailsford, all in cryptos. Jason, hey mate. Alexander, Amazon. Does that mean what? Buy Amazon stock? All £1 million in Amazon? So Tom's then elaborated 20% Bitcoin top up, 30% Cardano, 50% mixture of well thought out shit coins. Sounds like the Kryptonian portfolio, mate. Jason, got a new bin yet? No, unfortunately. Ellie refuses to let me change it. Amir says 20% education, 80% investment. Okay, Amir, do you fancy elaborating a bit more? Like, what exactly in that education bit and the investment bit? But until then, we have Tom. You're like a regular. Hey mate, thanks for being back.
Might as well, mate. Might as well. Got direct contact with you. Take advantage of it, eh?
Hey, yeah.
How's it going? All right?
Yeah, all good in the hood. So.
Good. Yeah. So what I would do is probably similar to some of those comments on Facebook. You'd have to split it. I'd definitely be hitting you up like Siam. I just had a hell of a lot of money come my way. You know, what are the top sort of 3 coins you'd say is worth going long on? I'd have a little bit. To have fun with, because you know you only live once and all that stuff. Probably buy a watch for a admirable investment piece, like a Rolex or something like that, an old Rolex.
Okay.
And yeah, a little bit of education. So sort of spread it around, I'd say.
Okay, I'm just going to... my short-term memory bank is pants. So Rolex, what was the other one?
So investment watch was something you could admire, watch. So I'm going down the watch route. Cryptos, so go long on 3 big ones.
Yep.
Bit of fun, because you only live once.
Yeah. Okay, so how much would you spend on fun?
So if I won bang on £1 million, I'd probably say 200 grand on whatever for me personally. Don't think of it as an investment, but do whatever makes you happy. So whether that is, you could do it on partly of investment, so whether that's buying or putting it towards buying a bigger house or buying a nice car, whatever, it's up to you in that respect. So it's kind of don't account on this for returns.
Yeah.
I would say then for the 800 left, I'd probably go long with 500k, but then leaving 300k for other kind of mixed investments. So yeah, kind of starting a bit of a watch collection. Maybe if you're into it, some sort of, I don't know, investment in some wine or any of those other kind of more unique investment categories. Okay.
What's the...
And probably, bit of mentoring in there as well, potentially.
Awesome. And what... So I don't deal with, like, I have no idea about vintage watches or wine and stuff like that. What's the average yield, or not yield, but what's the average ROCE, so return on capital invested?
I'm far from an expert on it myself, but from what I've heard from people like Rob Moore and the likes who have done it, I know that if you get the right sort of models, you know what to look out for, you can get anywhere from sort of 15% upwards quite comfortably. But of course, that also comes with the benefit of that, if you're careful, you can wear it to special occasions and actually admire what you've invested in. Yeah. So unlike cryptos where you get to sit there and go, Binance, yay, it's going well, it's actually nice to have something physical, as I'm sure you know from your bullion days.
Yeah. So 15% yield, but over what time frame?
That's the bit I couldn't tell you, and I think it really does depend on the watch.
Okay. Yeah.
there's so many different, certain rare versions, certain ages, things like that I think impact the overall kind of yield you'll get from it. I'm not enough of an expert to even give you some examples on what would be a good one or a bad one at this point, really.
Yeah.
That's one of these things. I think anyone, if you come into that money, you try and link that kind of investment to a certain passion. So it's a bit riskier, but whether it is, fine wines, or whether it's old sport cars or classic cars or whatever, I think it's one of those things that you can use a portion of your money to invest in things that are assets that should go up in value, but you actually have a passion in, so you can get into it on that front.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, the reason I asked is that I had a mate who, I think this was years ago, by the way, and he said, "Oh man, I've just made 100% ROI on my car." He had like some sort of vintage car, etc. I was like, "Oh, that's amazing." I was like, "How long have you had the car for?" And he said, "Oh, 10, 15 years, I can't remember." And I was like, and so obviously my brain just instantly tries to work out, what is the yield and what's the, ROI, etc. And I thought, wait a minute, 100%, let's say at minimum he had it for 10 years, 100% divide that by 10, he only averaged 10% per year, which meant he had to park his capital for 10 years to get that. So yeah, that's why I'm always interested in ROTE and ROCE, return on time invested and return on capital invested.
That's why I think it's got to come down to kind of a passion that you're interested in. So I'm probably a little bit closer to cars, but again, nowhere near it. But let's say from sort of our generations, you'll be aware of certain cars when you're a teenager that were around. So there'll be a point in, let's say, the Focus RS. Having it been a limited production car, sure, at first it might have been 30 or 40 grand, and it's going to go down to, let's say, 20 or 15 grand. But if you've been following that sort of car long enough, you'll know it's got a rough bottom point. And at a certain age, it starts to go, oh no, that's even rarer, it's going to go back up.
Bottom of that depreciation curve.
Certain things like that.
Yeah. It's interesting because I I wrote this little booklet. You can't see this in Clubhouse, but on Facebook Live, I'm holding up this little booklet. And it's called the 21 Main Asset Types. And I wrote this, published date August 2018. So I literally haven't read this in years. So I'm curious to see what I actually say about this. So here, jewelry. So I talk a little bit about jewelry, and then my 5-year outlook. Don't bother, I'm not. Okay, fair enough. Wait a minute. I talk about, there's a whole page on watches, vintage cars, fine art, fine wine. Oh dear. Should I read this out or not?
Go on.
Bear in mind, I know nothing about this sector, so I said, should hold their value fine over the next few tumultuous years, but the thing I don't like about these is that they appreciate in price far too slowly for me. A friend once said that his vintage car grew from 50k to 100k over the space of 15 years. Oh yeah, that's that story I was on about. He was chuffed, but I quickly pointed out that making 100% profit every 15 years is crap. That's only 6.67% per year. I could generate a $2,000 per month residual income stream in one of my businesses with 50k at least, which would be about 50% per year. Okay.
That's only where I counter that to say that's the thing. You're absolutely right. From a complete investment point, it's not the best investment.
Yeah.
But can you put the value on the point of he enjoyed that car?
Exactly. He
that
drove
was the
it.
car he wanted, etc.
Yeah. It's a bit like my Austin Healey Sprite in the garage, which I cannot sell. No.
Is that the one that's in the garage because it can't really go much further than the garage, or do you fix all that now?
Fair one. Awesome. Okay. Nice one. Yeah, thanks for that.
On anyway.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Tom. Anyone else here want to grab the mic and share what they would do? Remember, there's no wrong answer here. And until I see a mic hand going up, I'm going to read some comments out. Where did we get? So Alexander said selling on Amazon. What? So you'd spend £1 million selling on Amazon? As in, what is that? Ads on Amazon? Sorry, treat me like an idiot here. Can you just elaborate on that, please? Stuart said 25% cryptos, 25% e-commerce. Cool. 25% property, rest in education and fun. Nice. Yeah, it's good. Lots of sensible answers here. Jamie Barry, as a builder, I would buy a nice farm property in my beautiful Monmouthshire. Hopefully turn that 1 million into 2. Cool. Yeah. Richard said, what's your opinion on NFTs? I know a few different abbreviations of NFTs. Which is your NFT, mate? Anita, enough about cars. Okay. Amir says, 20% education, get a mentor to help me improve some areas I need help on. Investment, 80%. So it's 20% cryptos, 40% e-commerce business, 20% hairdressing salons. Okay, cool. So if hairdressing salons is like your niche, and you know that I mean, hell, that's business. That's great. And I'm seeing a few e-commerce stuff, so that's interesting. Does anyone else want to share what they would do? Because the other thing, which I guess not many people consider when, you know, hey, I've got £1 million, you know, windfall of some sort, is that £1 million is very different to lots of different people. Obviously, you can say, yeah, well, if, you know, a millionaire, multi-millionaire suddenly won £1 million, they'll be like, yeah, whatever. Whereas someone, you know, on the other end of that spectrum, it would be a game-changing amount of money. But it's also, I think you have to you also consider your cash flow. So, like for myself, I've got multiple businesses with multiple different cash flows. Some businesses are like literally bleeding cash. Some businesses are doing really well. It's a complete mixed bag. And so, for me, I've got different streams coming in, and my personal take-home cash, I guess, is you know, everything's relative. It's relatively high. I'm in the additional rate band, which sucks for tax-wise. It's 45%. And so I guess this goes back to investing. The reason it looks like I take massive punts and swings on things is because I've got a replenishing stream of income. So if you haven't read the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, it's one of the best money books out there. It's spoken in some weird oldie English, and they're like lots of thys and thous and stuff like that. And I think one of the commandments is like it's been years since I read it or listened to it. It's something like don't judge someone's wealth on how much capital they have, judge someone's wealth on how much cash flow they have, or something along those lines. And that for me was a massive eye-opener, because cash flow is everything, and that's why you see so many celebrities and reality TV stars get rich very quickly, and they may make a couple of million in a year or two or whatever. But guess what happens? They go and blow it. Look at Jordan, as in the model. Like she went from X amount of millions to broke. That was it. Michael Carroll, that Norfolk or Suffolk guy who won the lottery years ago. I think he won like 10 million quid. He now works at a biscuit factory on the line. And it's because all of these, you know, celebrities and film stars, they make shitloads of money, but they have no idea about capital arbitrage and how to basically turn, or capital allocation. So they don't know how to turn that capital into cash flow. And so, and that's why people, you know, I think it's something like 7 out of 10 lottery winners are broke within 10 years after winning the lottery. And that's because they killed the golden goose. You don't touch the golden goose. You eat the eggs. You don't have a roast goose, if that makes sense. So hopefully that's my little 2 cents. Oh, so Richard, non-fungible tokens. I'm indifferent. I think every non-fungible token is different. You can't compare. Like in the crypto space, there's shitcoins, they're not shitcoins, and so. Do you have any NFTs in mind? Because there are some non-fungible tokens which are just bullshit. Like you can do some master noding on crypto and you'll get a whole bunch of NFTs that you're spit out. And yes, you're making great yield because you're getting X amount of shitcoin per day or per day or per hour. But what is the dollar price of that? Like, or the pound price of that? Is it going up? If it stays at 1 pence forever or one cent forever, then it doesn't matter how good the yield is you're getting from that masternode. So I don't know if that's the angle you're approaching NFTs. Jason Jones said set up a brewery. Yeah, people always want alcohol. Always. Eileen, I would look into setting up a family bank. Ari Garrett B. Gunderson. What would the Rockefellers do? Okay, I see what you go. But I have to get someone else to do it, as I do not have a clue. Or first of all, education. Get a clue. If you're going into that, get a clue. I mean, if you know, obviously we're hypothetically speaking here, and a very small holding. Okay, cool. Tara, it says, I definitely give some away, no return, but purely altruistic. Awesome. Where would you give it away, Tara? So this is another topic which I've been looking into quite a lot in terms of charity. So I was massively gobsmacked when I first figured out, or not I figured out, once I discovered how charities work, and it's appalling. I do not give money to charity, but I give money out direct to causes. And the reason being is that if you took like the top 10 charities in the UK in terms of market cap, or no, in terms of how big they are, I'd almost guarantee nearly all of them are shysters. So that includes the Red Cross, Big C, Help for Heroes, all that sort of stuff. And I know this is probably going to be like, what the hell are you on about, Simon? These are good charities, cancer research, blah. But what happens, so the metric you need to look at for charities is how much money goes directly to the cause. Now, even when people start, even when charities display that figure, they massage it. So here's a little analogy of how most big charities work. Let's say you're walking down, I don't know, St Gentleman's Walk in Norwich, the high street, and you have some bucket collectors going, hey, bang bang bang, give £1 to sponsor a child in Africa or whatever. And let's say during that campaign over a month, the bucket collectors raise £1 million, okay, across the whole bunch of different cities. What then? Let's say it's cancer research, okay? So they raise £1 million, and on the buckets, I'll say every single pound goes to cancer research, goes to the cause or whatever. Well, those bucket collectors are most of the time an external company. Let's call it a marketing company, and so that marketing company literally then gives the £1 million directly to cancer research. But then on the back end, they then also send an invoice. So I'm just going to be extreme to make a point here. So they'll send £1 million over, but then they'll send a £200,000 invoice to cancer research for services rendered or marketing services. So all of a sudden you've only got 800,000 going to cancer research. But then you have to look at the bloat within cancer research. I mean, if you look at the HQs of all of these big charities, they're all massive glass buildings. They have Bentleys outside in the car park, and look at the salaries. It is nuts. So, and another eye opener is that my wife used to work for a charity. I'm not going to say the name of the charity, and she was like a lowly, helper. She was on like 20 grand a year. She was doing the do. And it was a small charity that had just got lottery funding. And what happened, it was a man and a wife that set up this charity. And so straight away, they put themselves on 120k salaries. Then they got their best mate as the marketing manager. He was on like 100 grand salary. And I think they got another person on a massive salary. So all of a sudden, you have the C-suite, as in the executive suite, like on a salary of like 300-400k. And all that money is just going straight, so to salary, fancy offices, etc. And that charity actually closed down in the end because it lost out on funding. And so Ellie was doing all these really good projects. She was like a project manager and like going to the actual, dealing with the people that needed the money. And in the end, it was like, Jesus, you could have got rid of 2 of the head honchos and helped, 100 more people or whatever. So that is my little rant for today. I do not trust charities. What there needs to be is a comparethemarket.com type thing for charities, where all the charities, their online accounting software is in the blockchain, so there's no shenanigans going on, and then you can then directly see how per pound, the percentage of each pound that goes to direct to the cause, and also direct to salaries and all that sort of stuff. So for me, whenever I give money away, I literally do it directly. So that's that. So Tara, thanks for prodding that little rant there. Sorry for anyone that works at cancer research or Big C or anywhere. Hopefully, I'm getting my big black tar brush here just to make a point, just so you know, but so people can then go and do their due diligence. Cool. Chris, sounds similar to issues that a lot of NFL players suffer. Yeah, regarding money spending. Don't forget here, anyone in the clubhouse, please pop your hand up. I'd love to hear what you would put your £1,000,000 to. Because in fact, what I would do, nothing. I wouldn't actually do anything different. For me, if I just suddenly won £1,000,000, I would simply just rebalance my whole portfolio, like what I do with my existing money. And I guess with my existing money right now, to simplify a lot, I've probably got 60-70% of my whole net worth in crypto or net worth and liquid net worth are completely different numbers here. So I'm just going to be let's just say I've got 60% of my net worth in liquid net worth in crypto, 40% in business. So if I had that, million, I would just plonk 600 grand in crypto, 400 grand in the businesses to replenish them. And then that 400 grand that goes into the businesses, that would nearly all be into more staff, upgraded systems if it needed. And we've got good systems anyway, so we probably wouldn't need, probably need an extra 10 grand worth of stuff. But yeah, basically it would all go on marketing. That is it. It would go, more staff and marketing. That is literally all I do with my money. So if you really wanted to boil down, if you looked at what I did for the big picture, it would literally be cryptos, marketing. That is it. And even then, I'm really anal with what I do in terms of fund money. So let's just say, let's say I had that £1,000,000, and let's say, I had a weak moment and I thought, okay, I'm going to have 20% of that, so 200 grand for fund money. I wouldn't actually blow the chicken. I wouldn't kill the goose, because I would then see that 200 grand as a magic goose. So what I would actually do is I would find something that I could put that 200 grand in that spits off a yield. I mean, it will probably be something in the business actually, and then let's say there's a magic pillar that spat out, call it 10% per year. So I put that 200 grand in, it chucks out 10% per year. Let's say it's really safe. 10% per year is what, 20 grand, and then I would use that extra 20 grand to then blow on stuff. So what's 20 grand divided that by 12? So 20 divide that by 12. So it'll be an extra 1666 a month. So what I would actually end up doing, sounds really boring, I know, is I'd put that 200 grand in something in an asset. That would chuck out 1,600 quid a month. And then I would make it my mission to blow 1,600 quid a month. I would literally blow on those ridiculous things, I mean, it could be, lots of little things, computers, holidays and stuff like that. Or it would just be a finance of a nice car. But that way I know I've got the 200 grand still sat there. I haven't blown the chicken. Why am I saying that? I haven't cooked the goose, the magic goose. But yeah, so that's what I would do. Ooh, Anita. Now you're talking dirty. Litigation funding, new asset class. Yes. And you are spot on, Anita. That is a very sexy emerging market right now, and I've got some mates that are milking it. So litigation funding is interesting. So a lot of law firms, when they do big cases, it costs a lot of money for them, and they'll have to front lots of salaries, lots of funding, lots of everything. And so I have a couple of friends, I'm thinking of two in particular, that have a private equity fund, and they are literally just targeting litigation funding, and they're going after big, massive law firms and saying, hey, look, we'll fund, we'll fund per case, etc. And they'll get a big fat, potential kicker at the end of it, if there is a windfall. So it could be a no win, no fee type thing, or they'll just get a nice, sexy, ROI like a loan. So yeah, wow, you're the first person I've heard mention litigation funding. Anita, are you doing it right now? Are you? From what I know of you, you're not in the legal world, are you? I don't know. Sorry, my memory's pants today. Wednesdays are not good for me. Wednesdays and Saturdays are my early morning days where I have to wake up at 5 and look after the 2 and 4 year old, and then on a Wednesday so from 5 in the morning till 2. That's when I hand them off so I can do stuff like this. But then the rest of my day is because I go, no matter how hard I try, I do not fall asleep until 1:30. So then waking up at 5 is like ugh. So yeah, Mohammed. Amir spot on with the charities. Mohammed spot on with charities. I only support charities that have 100% donation policy, which means every penny raised go to the donors. Yep, word. Jordan. Okay, cool. As I'm in property, I would like to help the elderly whose homes have become run down. Oh, nice. I would look to renovate their homes from damp, substandard buildings to being safe, warm, and livable homes. So many out there that don't have families that can't afford. Yeah, that's nice. Cool. And Chris set up charitable foundation to help kids, dyslexia with education. Nice. Cool. Anyone here on Clubhouse want to share? Come on, we need extra voices other than me. I'm pretty sure it's quite boring me reading out comments. Anyone? Yay, Liam. What would you do, mate?
Hi, Siam.
Hey.
Thanks for inviting me up.
Fellow
what would I do
Norwich folk.
with the £1 million? Is that right?
Yep.
I mean, similar to yourself, I'd pretty much do what I'm doing, but I'd add on a few zeros to make it go faster. Because what I'm doing at the moment is service accommodation in Norwich. At the moment, we do rental to service accommodation as opposed to buying, but obviously the margins would be a lot better if we were buying. So, again, I'd probably look to buy some properties. I'd then look to invest in more staff, probably VAs and things like that, and like you say, marketing to bring on more investors to invest into that as well. So yeah, more of the same.
Nice. That's good. Okay. And just while you're here, so how are you finding the Norwich property market at the moment with the rent to rent and stuff? I mean, I see loads of like student accommodations popping up in the centre and stuff.
It's actually going really well. I think, like anything, it just depends on if you know where the market is. So obviously, I mean, what we now do, we pretty much serve just workers. We had to completely change our business around from serving leisure to serving workers in Norwich. And we've stayed, I mean, last year, 2020, we were still at 81% capacity, and all of the units were still generating more than £500 per unit per month. So, you know, that it's actually been really quite good and quite a good learning curve. At the moment, it's going a bit mad because now everyone's looking to book for leisure again.
Yeah.
But again, if we were somewhere like if we were like somewhere coastal or a little village or something like that, we would have been absolutely quiet. So, you know, it's just you've got to be in a place where there's enough, you know, a mix of industry and people come here for tourism as well. Whereas places like London were really struggling because they lost the international travellers, all that side of things. So, yeah, quite not bad is what I'd say. It could always be better, but I've been quite. It's been a great learning curve.
Nice, awesome. Oh, thanks. Thanks.
What?
Anyway, yeah.
No worries. I've got a question for yourself.
Yeah, go for it. Hit me.
What sort of percentage would you put? So say, obviously, I mean, 2-3 years ago, you'd found me in a corporate job. I literally wouldn't have had a clue in investing money in assets over anything else. After Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, and lots of learning on Audible. Obviously, I now recognise that every time you've got any extra each month, you should be putting it into, you should either be enjoying it or putting it in somewhere. If you was to put it in anywhere at the moment, any extra, where would you put it at the moment? Would you put it into crypto, presumably, or would you put it into a safer bet, or what would be your plan with any money that you've got, which is over what you need to survive, and you've already put away your holiday money and all that?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's something that goes around my head every day. So I think I mentioned a little bit of this yesterday, and I think it's important to understand the way I think when I approach this, because you have to look at the big picture first. And the big picture is like, okay, is this, in terms of currency supply, is this an inflationary or a deflationary world right now? And the answer is it's a highly inflationary world in terms of currency supply, because they're just printing like money into oblivion, like the printing presses, etc. Therefore, those units, so let's say pounds in this case, are being melted away. They are, like, every single second, the purchasing power is dwindling. And so Economics 101, you do not, and you should not, harbour your wealth or store your wealth, short-term, medium or long-term, in that unit, whatever's being flitted away. And so from the biggest sort of possible picture, it's absolutely ridiculous to store money or store your wealth in pound sterling or the dollar right now. Any fiat currency, full stop. It's just Economics 101 or investing 101. It makes zero sense. And logic, you have to use logic for investing. So therefore, if anything surplus, it would then, following that logic line, it would then be stupid to keep that money in pounds. Now, this is something I have, like, with Ellie all the time. She's like, come on, Simon, just pull some money out of crypto. Just put it in our personal account. Just let it sit there. And I'm like, no, I can't. I refuse. It goes everything against how I think. And so the next question is, well, okay, if not the pound or the dollar or anything fiat, what else? Gold or silver, highly illiquid. You're absolutely trounced on, VAT and physical stuff. It's such a ball ache. So it's not ideal. I mean, bullion is only, good if you're prepared to really park it there for the long term. And literally, when you explore every other avenue, it always comes down to business and crypto at the moment. And when you get that so certain in a position, your own internal red warning flag should ping, ping, ping. Because then you're thinking, wait a minute, you're being too confident here in business and crypto. What are you missing here? And that's where you can, really sort of start drinking your own Kool-Aid. And so you have to always, like, as I said, you have to continually interrogate the data set from which you form your opinions and actions. You must continually, chronically interrogate the data set from which you form your opinions on. And so I ask this myself every day, literally every day. And every day so far, the answer is business and crypto. So I think anything surplus, actually, the safer bet for me would just to recapitalize the business and get them more solid. So yeah, that's my long-winded answer. And yeah, business, more staff, more marketing, etc. Because then you have more resilience. And it's interesting. What I found, because I play around, so with mergers and acquisitions and stuff, I play around the bottom end of M&A. So very small. I only look at businesses up to sort of 2 mil EBITDAC. By the way, EBITDAC is my term. So EBITDA, which everyone talks about, is earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization. Fancy word for profit. But EBITDAC is what I now look at, is earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization, and coronavirus. Because there are so many businesses that looked sweet and pretty pre-2020, but after the devastation of lockdown, these pretty businesses are hiding lots of ugliness under their skirts right now because of lockdowns. And so it's crucial that if you're getting into business, you look at literally how is the business handled during 2020. And so what I found, so I hover around the lower end of M&A, and one thing that I've consistently found is that there's a threshold of 250k net profit. If there is a business that is doing less than 250 grand per year net profit, it's fragile. It's so fragile. And what I've seen a lot of the time is that many business owners, they get to the point where they're making, call it 20 grand a month net profit, and they start taking their foot off the pedal, smoking the cigar, going, I've made it, 20 grand a month net profit, boom. And by the way, I fell into this trap myself. This is why I know this trap, because I did it myself. And what happens is you go, right, this business, 20 grand a month net profit, it's got staff in, it's got management team, boom, it's running itself. I'm now going to get distracted like a magpie and do something different, buy another business, do something else. And what happens without that direct attention from that director, that business starts to dwindle. And before you know it, you're doing 20 grand a month, 18 grand a month, 15, shit, it's down to 10 grand a month profit. And then by the time you catch onto it, it's too late. And so you start rapidly getting back involved in the business, going, shit, okay, I need to turn things around. And, it'll probably bottom off, 5 grand a month profit or whatever before you start really rallying it back up. Now, the idiot move that I did was, in, I guess, one of my businesses, I hit like 25 grand a month. And I thought, this is properly autonomous. I'm literally doing none of the operational bullshit of the business. And then I went off and played around and bought like 9 businesses in a year or something stupid like that. And then all of a sudden, I was spread incredibly thin, and every business just was pants, to the point where it all culminated in 2018, where every business was suffering big time. It was the most horrendous year I had in business, 2018. So yeah, for me, what I would do with this is just a really long answer to your question. I would just make sure all of the businesses get above that 250k net profit. And yeah, so just focus on But
awesome.
Sorry,
Thanks.
a really long answer.
There's quite a lot of learnings in that. So thank you very much, and I appreciate you answering the question and the time.
No worries, and thank you. So Chris Balding, this is going to be the last comment and my last sort of 2 pennies worth, because we've been here for 38 minutes now. I don't think I've done one of these sessions that have literally lasted half an hour. So Chris said, another idea being out on the coast, I'd like to get some land and pop some sustainable housing on it and use it for a combination of longer term and holiday rents, which is cool. And that just basically reminded me of my sort of Moonshot projects. So what again, another error I see a lot of business owners do, as in successful business owners, that they get to a level of good achievement and then take their foot off the pedal, is going after the big moonshot projects too early. And I've done that and failed. And the thing is, we see all of these movie star business owners like Elon Musk, and who, by the way, is the world's worst business idol to have. You should not model yourself after Elon Musk. I know he's my Lord and Savior. I mean, hell, I've got a freaking... you can't see this on Clubhouse, but literally my whiteboard next to me is this. So, although he is my Jesus, he is not a good business model to follow, because he does loads and loads of different things. He does them very well, but don't forget, he's got billions behind him. And when you think, like, whatever your moonshot project is for you, it's no doubt going to cost 10, 20, 50 million pounds to really get it going. And so if you start with anything less than that, you're going to end up turning your moonshot passion, and it's normally a passion, your moonshot project, into absolute failure. I've seen this too many times. Again, me trying to do it myself. So, I've got a fair few moonshot projects. I'll share them, because I mean, ideas are worth nothing. It's implementation that is worth everything. So the 3 things I guess I got 4 things. So obviously my schooling project, which is expensive in itself. I want to get into nanotech, but again, I need a good 20 million quid to get that kick started. I'll talk about nanotech another time. And the other 2, which are sort of hand in hand, is 3D printing buildings. So construction 3D printing. They've already printed a 600 square foot house in I think it was under 6 hours last time I checked, which is nuts. 600 square foot house, single story, in under 6 hours. that they printed that house. And like when you really look into construction 3D printing, it's going to change everything. So one of the reasons I want to get into that is that over time we're going to see a massive flood of refugees through all sorts of different things, not necessarily war, but over the next couple of decades, like if I'm not going to go into those reasons, but let's just say there's lots of poverty inbound, and more refugees and other stuff like that. So if you had the capability to print a town in a day or two, all of a sudden you could start helping thousands, tens of thousands of people across the world. So let's say, you could go to, a country which all of a sudden has like a refugee crisis and they've got, tent city or whatever. You could literally go to that government and say, hey, I could print 1,000 homes right now within a week. And I'll only charge you cost price. It would be a charity. And all of a sudden you wouldn't have refugees and stuff dying from exposure, and stuff like that, or disaster relief. One thing we do know for sure is that there's more moisture being absorbed over the equatorial regions. So increased and more ferocious weather events will happen over the next couple of decades, and so we'll see bigger hurricanes, more frequent hurricanes wiping out Florida and stuff like that. And even in America, like there were cities that went without water for weeks, literally weeks. People without housing. Is like a third world country in some parts of America after they get hit by hurricanes and stuff like that. So like if you had the ability to print a mini town, that would be epic. And alongside that, another sort of passion I want to get into, but I don't have the money for it yet, and I don't even have the time for this or any of these passion projects. But hopefully, someone here could probably run with them. Maybe is vertical farming. Like you can grow plants and vegetables without soil through advanced hydroponics. For example, look. When you combine lots of different tech, so if you combine level 5 autonomy, so full no hands driving, as in get into a car, pop the address in, go to sleep and arrive, that's what level 5 autonomy is. What one of the domino knock-on effects from level 5 autonomy, when Tesla makes its ravaged way with ice mobiles and whatever, is that multi-store car parks will slowly go extinct. That you just won't need them eventually over time. And when I say over time, like over the next couple of decades, you're going to see multi-story car parks become completely redundant. And so one of the things I would like to do is turn multi-story car parks into massive vertical farms, because you got a massive footprint, or no, a relatively small footprint in a built-up area like a city, but they're high. They could be like 10 stories high. Imagine how, and you can fit. In just one floor, you can fit 20 to 50 levels of vegetables, and so again, I've lost this. I haven't lost. I don't have time to find the spreadsheet, but the yield output of just an old multi-story car park converted into advanced hydroponics vertical farm would feed thousands of thousands. So yeah. Anyway, that's just my little ponderings, things I'd like to do in the future. Hope it helps. Has today helped, by the way? I know it's me been reading off comments on Facebook and stuff, but on Facebook, if it has helped, just say yay or nay. Or if you even like these daily sessions. From where I sit, it just feels like I'm just verbally farting at 4 o'clock every day for half an hour or so. Matt.
I've enjoyed it, Siam.
Cheers.
I've really enjoyed it.
Nice. So we have last Mike.
Hi,
Siam.
Hi,
Matt. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Sorry, I don't know if my sound's gone.
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
It's all good.
Yeah, good. Okay, lovely. I'm just stood by a lake at the moment, and the sun's shining. It's beautiful. I just heard that awesome answer to a great question. Yeah, that was. I just wanted to come up when you just asked that question. I just thought I've got to come up and just say thank you because awesome. I follow you. I've taken a lot from what you've taught me on YouTube and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I really appreciate it. I follow Liam as well. I listen to a lot that he says too. So yeah, two guys both from Norfolk.
All the best people come from Norwich.
Well, listen, mate, I do love Norfolk. I've got to say, I do love it. I'm from Bedfordshire. Hi, Liam. How we doing?
Nice.
Yeah, not bad, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Matt. That really means a lot to me. It really does. So thank you.
Well, yeah, the help and the insights are just amazing. You've put me onto Elon as well, and I kind of do listen to him now, and just purely to say thank you. But spring is here, chaps, and it's feeling good.
Come on, golf courses.
Really good. Yeah. I just I don't know what's going on with my sound. I really can't hear you guys very well, but I hope you can hear me clearly anyway.
You're loud and clear, 5x5. So
yeah, good. Okay.
Rightio. Well, thank you, everyone. It's been 45 minutes. Let's call it a day there. Again, what was it? Thursday. Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. Same time, every day, Facebook Live and Clubhouse. And I don't know what topic. In fact, what topic shall we do tomorrow? Everyone here gets to choose. What are we going to talk about tomorrow? Aaron says, with
new ideas for emerging markets.
Emerging markets. Boom.
The future. Yeah.
Done. Future ideas, emerging markets. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Legends. Thanks, folks. And see you tomorrow. Toodles.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.